Coach Anna here with Rewind, and today what we've got is a Ribollita soup, which essentially is a minestrone soup, but without the pasta. So we are gonna be able to make a really flavorful, tasty soup, but still keep the calories down. So super easy. I'm first gonna start off with something that we call, something that the French called a mirepoix, which is an equal ratio of carrots, onions, and celery. So first I've got my stock pot here on the stove. We'll put a little bit of olive oil, and I am gonna measure out about a tablespoon here. And this is just to soften the mirepoix. This pot is hot, as you can see, it's sizzling. So I'll put our mirepoix in there. You'll notice that, especially all the veggies, will all shrink down in size. So we're gonna soften the mirepoix here. And this could take anywhere from 5 to 7 minutes. And now I'm just gonna add in, we've got some minced garlic right here we're gonna add in there. And then we also have some sprigs of rosemary. No need to cut or take off the leaves at all. You can literally just put the entire sprig in there and we'll give that a nice little stir. So we just softened our mirepoix here. So it's nice and soft and it's super fragrant right now. And so next up we wanna add our liquids to this soup. So we've got here a full can of whole tomatoes, and I'm just gonna dump the entire can in here. Personally, I'm such a fan that anything that is a dump and cook kind of recipe. So just dump the entire thing in there of your whole tomatoes. And then we've got a whole carton of vegetable stock. So we'll just dump the entire thing in there as well. We'll give it a nice little stir. And then the other ingredients that go into here, our protein for this soup is gonna be our beans. So we do have some cannellini beans over here that we'll add in. And then some kale we'll add in at the very, very end. So we'll give this a good stir. The other thing is we also want to season it. So I have some salt and pepper here that you can season as needed. You certainly can taste as you go. I'll do a few pinches in there of my salt, and then I've got some of my pepper in here as well. All right, and then I might adjust these ingredients based upon how this pot is filling. You might have a bigger pot at home that you could be using, because next up I do want to add in my beans here, and I have a feeling if I add in this entire bowl, we might be overflowing here, and I don't want that. So I think what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna guesstimate a little bit here, but I'm gonna add in about 1 or 2 cups of my beans here. I'm basically just gonna make sure this doesn't overflow. So these are cannellini beans, by the way. Beans in general are such a great source of protein, such a great source of fiber. When we're talking about weight management, those two nutrients, protein plus fiber, are really what you want. And honestly, every meal and snack that you have, protein and fiber are filling and will keep you full for longer. So I'm just sort of, I'll be honest, eyeballing in here. So we got our cannellini beans. And I think that's pretty good right there. So as I mentioned, that will be our protein source. This is a vegetarian kind of option. You certainly could put chicken in here if you want to. We actually were doing some other recipes earlier today, and we shredded an entire rotisserie chicken, and we have a ton of that left over. So this could be a really easy place where you could throw this in at the end just to warm it up. But for this recipe, the beans are the primary protein. And then the very, very last thing is we're gonna add in the kale. The kale is our prime veggie source. And one thing to know about a lot of these leafy greens, kale being one of them, is that they shrink a ton. So this looks like a really full bowl. I'll add in kind of what I can and kind of use my ladle here to push it all down, but it will shrink quite a bit. So I'm gonna add the kale in here, and we can even see if it will all fit, but I bet you, this shrinks so dramatically. I think if I just smush it down with my ladle here, I do think we can make it happen here. And kale, I mean, not only does it work great in soups, kale is another thing that's actually also really easy to add to things like shakes. It has a pretty mild taste. I mean, spinach is sort of similar as well. It has a pretty mild taste that if you were to put it in a shake, a smoothie, etc., you wouldn't really taste it that much, but you would get that extra fiber. All right, well, we've had our soup here on a simmer now for about 20 minutes. And you know, soups in general, when you keep them on this low heat, the nice thing is that the flavors just meld together even more. And the beans as well, they just soak in all of that flavor. So if you wanted to take it off the heat earlier, you certainly could, but kind of the longer you have it on there, the more those beans soak those flavors. And you can see here with the kale that we added in earlier, we had that whole big bowl. It really did boil down. It really did shrink quite a bit. So now it all fits in the pot very well. And I'll just show you, and I did keep my salt and pepper here in case, you know, after you taste it, you do want to season it more. You certainly can do that as preferred, but we can scoop our soup over here. I do have as a little topper some shredded Parmesan cheese, as well as some parsley to top it off with, because you know, parsley always makes dishes look nice and presentable. So we'll just do a little bit of Parmesan cheese here, right over there, and then our parsley as garnish. And there we have it, our Ribollita.